Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 21. We are on day 21 on our 30-day cleanse challenge. I hope everyone's feeling great. This is just a reminder that of our goals for the next 30 days. What we want to do is we want to monitor our bodies for some changes in these three areas: our physical health, our mental health, and then see how they help us incorporate lifestyle changes and what we start to notice so far. So some of you have already come back to me with, great stories about how you've reduced your bloating, you've had less headaches, less cravings, less irritability, and some of you with even more serious digestive issues have been doing really well. And so I'm really excited to see how this next 10 days go as we finish off this cleanse and continue our microbiome journey by improving our nutrition and our overall health. So now, although these changes in our microbiome can start within even just a week of changing up things, right? Achieving a healthy microbiome in the long run is a process. It's a long-term commitment that can take up to 6 months for us to notice significant changes and improvements. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do this cleanse for 6 months. It just means that in order to notice those long-term effects of this cleanse and the probiotics, you need to be patient and learn about which foods and nutritional principles can help you achieve these long-term improvements. It's not what you do in 30 days, it's what we do long-term, and consistency is key here. And so before we get into the importance of probiotics, it's really important that we remind ourselves how important the bacteria that live in and around our bodies are. We have over 100 trillion microbial cells and over 2 million genes that play a role in the digestion of foods, processing nutrients, reducing inflammation. These bacteria are so important in helping us maintain a healthy metabolism and so much more. And so here's kind of what our microbiome journey looks like. I love using this lawn example because I think it's a really great analogy that we can visualize our experience with. And so before, we didn't feel healthy, and partially because of our digestive system. Our digestive grass was kept unkept and was exposed to a lot of toxic environments by the foods that we were eating, by the poor nutrition we were giving it, the intestinal damage from even prescription medication, antibiotics, pollution from our environment, bad bugs and bacteria. And so it needed some work, right? We started to add what was missing in our diet, what was missing from our gut microbiome, these healthy prebiotic fibers and live fiber to help give us a clean slate, gently scrub that digestive lining and feed that healthy bacteria by removing that old grass and replace it with new species of bacteria while we work to improve our nutrition by boosting our protein intake and lowering our sugar intake. And so within a few weeks, we've cleaned out the old waste, the toxins, the bad bacteria that may have been overgrowing and throwing our microbiome off balance. And so we started fresh, giving our bodies a clean slate. And the reason we did this was because it's very difficult to sometimes start changes in our microbiome. Our entire gut is pretty much inhabited by bacteria. And some of these bacteria are resistant to change. And so while we start to incorporate probiotics, our bodies will be a lot more likely to accept them and start to have those positive effects that they're meant for. And so, for example, like pre-cleanse, if we were taking probiotics, depending on the types of bacteria living in our guts, it's possible that certain species, I call them bully bacteria, will kill off all the new bacteria. So that new bacteria is not going to have any effect in the body. It won't be able to have a chance. And a perfect example of this is from a study out of University of California in San Francisco. And so what they did was these researchers out of UC San Francisco were looking at helping people with IBS. And so they devised a unique probiotic that they hypothesized would be able to help them with their digestive problems. So now, unfortunately, when they first initially gave people this probiotic, it actually had no effect. And what they ended up doing was they thought a different approach. They decided a new strategy. They gave everyone in that trial a targeted antibiotic that wiped out some of that bacteria in the gut. Now, when they take the probiotic, those bacteria were able to now start to colonize the gut. It caused more of a drastic change in their microbiome now, and they ended up starting to see a 40% improvement in these IBS symptoms. And so the point of sharing this example is to demonstrate this need to start fresh, to demonstrate the beauty of what the cleanse is doing for us. Paraway, it acts like this targeted antibiotics, but it's a little bit more natural, right? Removing that overgrowth of the bad bacteria. And we may have had an unhealthy microbiome, a microbiome that was very fixed and static and resistant to change. And so we kickstarted that change by using the Paraway Plus. And so this is critical because it allowed that new bacteria to start to thrive and start to grow. And so again, this clean slate is giving us a better chance of probiotic survival and effectiveness. It's giving our bodies a chance to rebalance our gut bacteria to healthier state. And one of the biggest takeaways to understand is that a healthy microbiome is like a healthy, diverse community. We talked about diversity and the importance of that in our last webinar. And so today we're going to be talking about how we're going to be incorporating that diversity with probiotics. And, each of us, for example, we have our own important roles in our own communities. And when there's imbalances in the way our cities are run and the way our communities are run, then, there's chaos everywhere. And it's the same thing that happens with our guts, right? If there's an imbalance and there's a certain species of bacteria missing, then it's there, no one's doing their job. And so it can create havoc and inflammation in our bodies that can lead to more problems down the road. So what we're doing with this cleanse is taking a very targeted approach, resetting and rebuilding the health of our microbial communities. And so this is the difference between a common shotgun approach, right? Where you do like a juice cleanse here and a little bit of turmeric shots here, and you get, put a little bit of fiber here